The story of the day today in Santa Clara was when Kyle Shanahan told us that Talanoa Hufanga has actually torn ligaments in his wrist, and he will be out. And he will be out for an extended period of time. They're thinking roughly a month. It doesn't sound like they know for sure. The Niners starting safeties Sunday or Thursday night are going to be Jair Brown and Malik Mustafa. And I guess the first question is, how, in your mind, how big of a loss is Hufanga? He wasn't particularly playing well. And I guess the bigger question is, can Mustafa play the deep middle in coverage in zone or man? Can he play the deep middle? Can he play free safety and give them a coverage player down the field? What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good question, Larry. And it's an unfortunate injury. Talanoa Hufanga already coming off a major injury. My concern, we talked about this in the offseason, Larry, was can he get into condition? Can he get into form? It wasn't necessarily just the ACL. He hasn't played football in a while, and his body has to adapt to getting back to the rigors of football. So, yeah, I hated this that they didn't get a safety in the offseason. I remember we sat here and we said, get Justin Simmons, go get a safety, get a starting caliber black. I think it was the guy from the Colts, Blackman, Isaiah Blackman or whatnot. He was. They had safeties available. They were rumored to get him, and they didn't because they didn't know if they can give a guy a starting safety job. They were really on limbo about having Hufanga and whatnot, and now he's hurt for at least a month. Torn ligaments is rough. That's the baseline, right? And they still don't really have a safety that can cover that deep shot. I don't think Mustafa can do it. I hope he can. I'm really happy that we have a guy in Mustafa that can maybe come in and play, at a high level, but he's still very young. He's a rookie. And if he gets burned, that's going to mess him up his mentally. And then Jair Brown, he just hasn't taken that leap that we've wanted. And the problem is, it's not that Hufanga, being lost was he was playing at a high level. He wasn't really playing great. Obviously, he was coming back from injury, but now the depth gets even worse because if there's an injury to Jair Brown or Mustafa, they got George Odom that has to play, and he's not a starting caliber safeties, and he definitely can't cover those deep shots. So it's tough. This is going to put a more strain on our secondary, which has been strained this year. I'm a little worried. Not going to lie to you, but it is what it is. You got to move on. Maybe they make a move before the trade deadline, but I wish they would have got a safety this summer. I really
Well,
do.
this is a good passing offense that Seattle has. I mean, this is the third best passing offense in the sport right now. They're averaging almost 271 yards a game passing. They've got DK Metcalf, who is fumbling right now, but he also has huge size and speed. You got Jackson Smith Enigma. You've got Lockett. They've got a pretty good rookie tight end in Barner. This is a pretty good passing team. So, the Niner secondary is going to be tested. The question I would have with Hufanga is how good is Hufanga? He played 11 snaps against Arizona. He had one missed tackle. He allowed, I believe he allowed, two receptions maybe, or one reception for 15 yards, something like that. But he also had the lowest defensive grade of any of the Niner players, according to PFF. So how big of a loss is Hufanga? Or is Hufanga overrated? I mean, I hate to say that because I really like Hufanga as a guy. He's the kind of guy you'd want your daughter to marry. He's really, really solid.
Guy,
I just think I love the guy as a guy. I don't see a big physical player in the box like a Cam Chancellor. He doesn't hit like a truck or anything. He falls off, tackles sometimes when he blitzes. He'll sometimes get penetration in the backfield. He'll fall off the running back. He doesn't have a lot of power in his strike. He's got great timing. I know he watches a lot of film, but I don't see a lot of power in the run game, and I definitely don't see any real speed or quickness in the pass game. I kind of think for a guy who's been called an all-pro, I think he's overrated. And I like him, but I think he's
I
overrated.
wouldn't say overrated, but the problem he's never had like big speed. He's never like a big speed guy. That's why he didn't test good in the combine. It was more like game speed type guy. The thing with Fonga, he's got good instincts, but the problem is he's coming off a major injury, Larry. And the problem with that is I just don't think he's in football shape or he's conditioned enough because he's been trying to rehab from the ACL. And, it's great that he was able to make that comeback. But I just don't see the old Huff that we saw in his All Pro season where he was running and had the instincts and jumping and doing all these things. And yeah, there's times where he missed the angles and he missed, a couple of plays here and there. But he was a very skilled player in that All Pro year. But he definitely has kind of fallen off from that. Injury definitely doesn't help. The reason why I think it's a big injury per se, I know he wasn't playing good, Larry, but depth now again. And I keep going back to this because okay, yeah, you got two young guys, Jair Brown and Malik Mustafa, but you just don't have a free safety. You don't have anybody that can go out there and play the coverage. Jair Brown, to me, I don't think he can cover. He can play in the box, but he's slow. You talked about Hufanga. Jair Brown's just as bad as fast as Hufanga, I feel like, when I watch him out there. And again, George Odom, if he has to come in and start at safety, we're going to get thrown on all over by those receivers you mentioned on that. So to me, yeah, it's a big loss in the sense that safety depth has dwindled. I mean, I don't know if they can throw Ronaldo Green out there and play safety, but they need to figure something out because the safeties have not looked good this season, and they're missing a lot of tackles.
No question. No question. They are missing a lot of tackles. I'm going to share the screen here. Shanahan was asked by Barrows today a question about Mustafa. Here's what he had to say.
He's been getting better.
Let's see here. Here's Shanahan from the presser today. He was asked by Barrows about Mustafa.
Now, what Mustafa done well so far, and how has he been in the sort of communication aspect of his job?
I think communication is one of the hardest things, especially for a young guy coming in. I think he's been getting better at that the more he's been out there. I think, just his lack of not hesitating. You guys saw that a little in preseason, just some of the hits he had, especially you saw a couple in that Tennessee game from what I remember. And when he's come in, he's done the same stuff. I think he gets faster each week, just recognizing things and not breaking down and trying to run through his tackles.
There you go. A little bit of Shanahan on Mustafa. I love Mustafa as a talent. I'm not sure if he can cover well enough to play the deep middle, but I think he probably is better than Brown and Hufanga in that area. So we'll find out. I mean, I'm hoping he can do the job. I'm a little. It's a tough job. I mean, Earl Thomas was a converted corner, and that's why he was so great in coverage as a safety. I like Ronaldo Green, the idea of Ronaldo Green at free safety, but he's just a little undersized and a little underpowered to play free safety. And it makes me wonder if they'd be a liability against the run, even that much more so if they play him at free safety. So, but they're running out of guys, so everybody's going to get a shot.
I might get a shot to play free safety for the 49ers, huh?
Seriously.
I might even need to suit up, Larry.
You're more of an Earl Thomas than a Cam Chancellor.
Earl Thomas, I could do the flip off too.
You're more of a coverage guy than a box safety. You don't have the thump of a Cam. When I see you, I don't think, hey, I wonder how Cam Chancellor's doing these days. You know what I mean? You don't remind me of Cam Chancellor.
That's
Earl
fair.
Thomas, though, I see you, I think, you know what? I wonder how Earl Thomas is doing these days. No, but in seriousness, the Niners may not have their Earl Thomas. I'm hoping Mustafa can be that guy. All right.